Welcome back for another edition of The Mineral Way. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, Dave Michaels, live every Monday, 5 o'clock Pacific time, to answer your questions, take your text messages, and ignore your phone calls. 831-479-1080, 831-218-5726, KSEO at gmail.com, and of course, themineralway.com. You can interact and ask questions using any of those methods. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs will be more than happy to answer them, and I will do my best to answer them as well. I mean, I guess, right, Ben?
Absolutely, 100%. What do you mean ignore phone calls?
Well, that's just.
What are you talking about?
I just want to see if you're paying attention.
I am, and we don't ignore anybody's phone calls. He was joking, everybody.
Yeah.
That's not true.
That's not true, Ben.
That's totally not true.
But we are here live every Monday. That's true.
That is true. That is true. What's going on, Dave? Happy Monday.
Oh, happy Monday to you. Are you ready for the? Isn't there a holiday coming up?
Oh my gosh! Can you believe it?
Is it the end of summer?
I'm telling you, every Memorial Day in my mind, I think it's Labor Day, because I know that going from Memorial Day to Labor Day is going to be like a blur. And sure enough, here we are. Memorial Day to Labor Day. It was a blur. Summertime's over.
Are you starting to notice a pattern?
Yeah. I'm starting to notice a pattern that I'm getting to be an old man. That's what I'm starting to notice. That's the pattern I'm noticing. The years are flying by, buddy, which is, to bring a full circle here, that's why you want to take care of your health.
Oh.
Right? You don't want to, you just don't want to wake up one day and be old and sick. And it's funny because that's how it seems like to us. I talk to people all the time, and it's like we have this idea when we get sick. It's like all of a sudden we got sick. People say to me, "Oh, I was just fine yesterday, and today I got Parkinson's disease," and because we don't notice that things accrue, they build up, and it's like drip, 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 and all of a sudden there's a flood, and that's kind of how we get sick. And what you want to do is you want to start taking care of your health while the drip, drip, drip is happening, not once the flood hits. It's the drip, drip, drip where you have control and power over. The flood is much more difficult to deal with. The drip, 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 you can start today. You can get on a nutritional supplement program today and cut off the drip, 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 drip. And while the flood, you can reverse the flood. Everything is reversible in the body. It's a heck of a lot harder to reverse the flooded basement than it is to take care of the drip, drip, drip that's coming out of your leaky pipe, if I can use that metaphor.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And that's what it's all about, really. It's taking care of your health while you're healthy. How often do we get a call from people who say that they're perfectly healthy and they just want a health program to maintain their health? Hardly ever, right?
Yeah, hardly ever.
It's always somebody who's got some kind of horrible health challenge, or even a minor health challenge, or somebody in their family, their kid, or their husband or wife has a health challenge. The time to take care of your health is when you're healthy. If you are sick, if your body's breaking down, yes, there's all kinds of strategies. And I've often said that the sicker we are, the faster the body can turn it around. So if you are broken down, rest assured you can begin the healing process immediately. Your lungs heal between cigarettes. Your intestines heal between processed foods. So we can heal really, really fast. But you want to take care of your health while you're healthy under ideal circumstances, and really when you're young. Have you noticed that most of the people who are using longevity products or interested in longevity products, they're older people?
Yeah.
Right? Young people, this is the time when you're youthful and when you're have the ability to be an athlete, to move your body, to be flexible and limber. That's the time to maintain. And that's ideally, that's the kind of people that I want participating in longevity. The older folks, we can help older folks too. People like myself, who are in their 60s or 70s, yes, we can definitely help you. But the younger folks, that's the time to begin taking care of your nutrition.
831-479-1080. Before we get to our first phone call.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? Let's get to the phone call first. We should prioritize phone calls.
And then I want to talk to you about this article that came out from JAMA MedPage Neurology. Alzheimer's genetic risk may be effectively countered with diet.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Let's get out to Watsonville first, though, Ben. We're going to pick up Cheryl, and she wants to know a little bit about niacin.
Ooh, I love that stuff.
Cheryl, you are in the air. Thank you for the call.
Oh, thanks for taking it. I wanted to know what causes the flush from taking niacin.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I had a really bad reaction to it last week.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, there's different forms of vitamin B3. The chemical name of vitamin B3, there's a few different chemical names. Vitamin B3 is an essential, like all vitamins, essential nutrient, meaning you have to have it or you're dead. And vitamin B3 is especially notable because it's the one vitamin that's so important for the body that the body will actually make it. Under ordinary circumstances, the body doesn't make vitamins. However, vitamin B3 is so fundamentally important for a lot of reasons, I'll tell you a few of them here in a sec, that the body's going to actually make it. And that's just to show you how incredibly important this molecule, vitamin B3, is.
Wait a minute, is B3 and niacin the same thing?
Exactly. Vitamin B3 is the colloquial term. You know, we call vitamin A, that's really retinol. We call vitamin B1, that's really thiamine. We call vitamin B2, that's really riboflavin. So, you know, we call them vitamin B and C and D, etc., but they have a chemical name, all of these. And vitamin B3, as it turns out, has a few different chemical names. One is called niacin, and the other is called niacinamide. Now, there's a few other ones, but those are the two primary ones, niacin and niacinamide. Niacin is the one that causes the flush, the niacin flush. You've heard of that. And then niacinamide is no flush niacin. So if you really have the flush and it's a problem, then you want to use niacinamide. However, that flush is a vascular effect. It's a blood vessel effect, which is to show you that niacin, not niacinamide, but niacin, the kind of flushes, has more cardiovascular benefits, more vascular benefits than niacinamide. So you can use the niacinamide, but it's not going to have the same kind of vascular benefits and, for that matter, cholesterol-lowering benefits that niacin has. And that is one of vitamin B3's claim to fame, is that it helps the body process cholesterol. In fact, almost as effective, probably as effective now that I think about it, as effective as a statin drug. So for folks who are on statin drugs and who don't want to deal with side effects or are worried about side effects, you should be using vitamin B3. In the niacin form, in the flushing form, because it has anti-cholesterol benefits. Niacin is very important for blood fats. And that's one of its most important roles in the body. It helps the body deal with fat, and it helps the body deal with sugar. And so diabetics will benefit from vitamin B3, anybody really who has problems with sugar, or really all of us, because we're all eating sugar, breads, carbohydrates, starches, etc. We'll all benefit from supplementing with niacin just for its blood sugar lowering properties. It's part of a complex that's called the glucose tolerance factor. The glucose tolerance factor is a kind of a protein complex that helps the body deal with sugar, improves the body's ability to deal with sugar, and one of its major components is vitamin B3. And also, niacin is extremely important for the brain. And niacin has actually been used to treat schizophrenia. There was the father of orthomolecular medicine. Orthomolecular, technically in Latin, means good molecules, but it refers to nutritional medicine, orthomolecular medicine. Orthomolecular in Latin means good molecule. So orthomolecular medicine, the father of orthomolecular medicine, Abram Hoffer, he was famous for treating his schizophrenic patients with niacin, with vitamin B3. And niacin is extremely...
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, sure, of
I hate
course.
to interrupt you, but the reaction I had to it was really intense.
Yeah.
And I had to act. I felt like my skin was cracking.
I was
out walking the dog when it hit me, and I actually had to sit down on the ground because I thought I was going to pass out. Was it just because I hadn't taken it so many years?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons why. A couple of reasons why it happens. First of all, the mechanism is vasodilation, which means blood vessels opening up, and that's why you feel hot and itchy. The blood vessels are opening up. So so that's really the mechanism. But the reason, one of the main reasons why why it occurs is because when you don't have haven't had any niacin in your system, your body sucks it up really, really fast. And there's ways around it. First of all, it'll go after you've been taking it for a while. You won't get it anymore. It tends to go away over time. Secondly, if you're really having a problem with it, you can use essential fatty acids. Supplement with essential fatty acids, and then you'll be less likely to get the niacin flush. And that's another strategy that you can use. And then also using it with food can also help. So a lot of times when we take on an empty stomach, it goes right into the system, and you get a big hit of it. If you take with food, that kind of slows things down, slows the absorption down a little bit, and so it doesn't happen as intensely. And then lastly, you can take a much smaller dose. It's most significant when you take large doses, like 100 milligrams or so. But if you take 10, it rarely happens when you take 10 or 15 milligrams. Of course, you don't get the big hit of niacin. You don't get the benefits that you do from a high dose of niacin. But you can always use niacinamide, and it won't happen.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Have you ever had the niacin flush, Dave?
And no, I haven't. Thank you for the call, Cheryl.
It's a weirdest, Cheryl had it pretty significantly. But even if you don't have it that significantly, it's just a weird feeling.
What does it feel like? Can you describe it?
Hot, hot and itchy, and not pleasant. It's almost like you ever have your how you sleep on the wrong side, you sleep on your leg or your arm funny, and it feels numb and tingly. Mm-hmm. It's almost like that, but more hot. And it's not nice. It's really, really uncomfortable. I've had it.
Well, then why the hell would I want to take it, Ben?
Because it's so darn important, and you don't get it over time. And if you take it with food, you won't get it.
Okay.
And if you have enough essential fatty acids, most people won't get it unless you're super, super sensitive to it. But it's just a critically valuable nutrient. It has so many benefits.
If you say so, Ben. So tell me about this article that you were going to.
Yeah, so I thought this article was really interesting, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because we hear all the time, oh, your mother had dementia, so you're going to have dementia. Mm-hmm. There's this whole idea that it's your genetics determine who you're going to be, and that's not how it works. That's a misunderstanding of genetics. So Alzheimer's this is the headline, Alzheimer's genetic risk may be effectively countered with diet. What that tells you is that just because you have a genetic risk doesn't mean that you're actually going to have the manifestation of whatever that gene codes for. So people who carry the Alzheimer's disease gene, they so-called, it's called the APOE4 gene. Mm-hmm. So just because you happen to have that gene, it turns out that if you eat right, you won't get Alzheimer's. Hello? Basically what they're telling you is forget about your gene. They're not saying it, but literally, but this is what they're really telling you. Just eat right and forget about your genes. They didn't say supplement, but you might as well say supplement too, because that's really the active ingredient in foods. You get that the nutritional supplementation is the active ingredient in foods. And even though we hear about, we think about nutrients as medicines, and they are kind of like medicines, really they're just the active ingredients in foods. And by eating right, if we could eat right, and I say if, because really in our culture, it's very difficult to eat right with cooking and with processing and with time and with expense and with soil depletion. Mm-hmm. It's next to impossible to eat right. Mm-hmm. But theoretically, if you eat right, that'll take care of most of our chronic degenerative disease issues. Most of our chronic degenerative disease issues are lifestyle issues. They're not medical. It's so important that we emphasize that in this world, in this country especially, where we are obsessed with the medical model and where we think that representatives of the medical model are deities and that they can do anything. And then we're shocked when they give you the wrong drug and they tell you that you're going to be on this medicine the rest of your life, or they tell you this is idiopathic or essential and there's no reason for it and we don't know what causes it and that's just how it is and the human body is flawed. And we'll say, how could you say that? You're a doctor. Because the medical model is not set up to address chronic degenerative disease. Does the distinction between chronic degenerative diseases and traumatic issues, accidents, and traumas, do you think that's clear?
I think so, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we think of doctors, think of getting into an accident and getting your leg stitched up, or having a rock fall on your head and having stitches put on on a wound, or having, God forbid, a heart attack and having, a stent or a bypass done. When you have an emergency, that's when you want to see a medical representative. But if you have psoriasis, or if you have Parkinson's disease or diabetes or ulcerative colitis, there's nothing they can do. And I'm always blown away when I talk to people and they say, well, yeah, I have ulcerative colitis. I talked to a guy yesterday. He said he had Crohn's disease, and they put me on Skyrizi, right? and I want to know if I could get off the Skyrizi. I'm like, what is Sky? You know, ever heard of Skyrizi?
Yeah,
That commercial?
It's a weird name. What
It's a weird name. Aren't they all weird names?
Yeah.
Who you ever wonder where they come up with these names?
I have. Yes.
Isn't it crazy?
Yes.
Skyrizi. What the heck does that even mean? Skyrizi. Right. So, but I'll tell you what. The chemical name for Skyrizi is even weirder. You want to know what that is?
Isn't it like Skizzy, Rizzy, Mezrizzi?
Yeah, like that, kind of like that. Yeah. Risankizumab.
Is that really the name?
I'm not kidding you. Risankizumab.
All right.
Okay, which would you rather say, Skyrizi or Risankizumab?
Skyrizi all day long.
Right, all day long. As stupid as that is, right? Mm-hmm. Have you heard of Stellara?
Yes.
That's another one. You know what the name for Stellara is?
No.
The technical name for Stellara?
No.
Stellara? It's almost as bad as Risankizumab. Do you really want me to tell you?
Tell me.
You're going to be blown away if I tell you what the Stellara is.
I want to hear it.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Ustekinumab. Ustekinumab. Now, you'll notice that these drugs all end with mab.
Yeah, what's the deal?
What's the deal, right?
Yeah.
Because they're monoclonal antibodies. What?
Oh.
Monoclonal antibodies. What the heck is that? What they do is, have you been following this Ukraine war thing, the Ukraine-Russia thing? What's the most notable military advance in the Ukraine war? And Ukraine-Russia war, do you know?
Drone warfare.
Drones, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that ridiculous, these drones? I was listening to some guy talk about how he's a reporter, and he was in the Ukraine, and he was talking about being chased by a drone.
That's cool.
Cool?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That's not cool.
Well, it's cool in a certain
way.
Highly
uncool. He said that people have to go to the store really, really early in the morning and then come home really quick because they send the drones out, and the drones target people while they're walking and cars while they're driving. Can you imagine this? And you can't duck them. This is a little creepy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up is because in the body you have something very similar. You have antibodies.
Okay.
And these antibodies function like drones. You've heard of the term antibodies, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Of course.
So antibodies are like drones. And these drones, these antibody/drones, attack bad guys.
Now, that's cool.
Right, that is kind of cool. The bad guys. But when they attack the bad guys, there's collateral damage. So, for example, you might have an antibody that attacks distorted joint tissue because it thinks the joint tissue is bad for some reason, or the joint tissue is just somehow dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. It will attack, and you'll get inflammation. But it's a functional thing. So there's antibodies against joint tissue, and that's technically they call it rheumatoid arthritis. Or you can have antibodies against intestinal tissue, and that's called Crohn's disease or celiac disease. And you get collateral damage. It causes pain. It causes inflammation. So what these drugs do, you ready for this? They shoot down the drones. These UMABs, these monoclonal antibodies, Stellaris and Skyrizi, they shoot down the drones. They shoot down the antibodies.
That's cool.
Okay, sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
But they don't solve the problem. The problem is not the drones. The problem is the distorted tissue. Right? So your tissue remains distorted. And your joints remain deteriorated, or your intestine or whatever part of the body. It's not solving the problem. It's solving the body's response to the problem. Or it's addressing the body's response to the problem. And it doesn't solve the problem. So drugs don't solve problems. They address the response to the problem. So if you're driving along and you run out of oil and your oil light goes on, the oil light, change oil or fill light on your dashboard, your idiot light goes on. The problem isn't the idiot light. That's the response to the problem.
Oh,
so
good.
you can take a hammer, so you don't have to see the idiot light, and you're good, right? But you're gonna run out of oil, and your car's gonna break down. It doesn't solve the problem. Drugs don't solve problems, with the exception of pain pills. But we know then you get addicted, or perhaps antibiotics, but then we know we have bacterial resistance. But aside from those two kinds of drugs, antibiotics and pain pills, and by the way, I'm a big believer in pain pills. Everybody should have pain pills in their medicine cabinet. I've had pain pills in my medicine cabinet that I've been so happy I've had. Like I remember like falling off a mountain bike and just shredding my leg. And I was so glad I could go to the medicine cabinet and get some Percocet that I'd saved from a dental appointment that I had. So pain pills are definitely valuable. You got to be careful with them, of course, as are antibiotics. But other than that, they're useless, except for hiding symptoms, except for masking symptoms. If you really want to be healthy, there's not a drug in the world that can do that. In fact, drugs by their very nature are anti-health because they are shut down and they suppress bodily chemistry. They're poisons, really.
Yeah, and I've heard you mention that before, Ben.
I know, and sometimes people...
It makes sense. The more you think about it, the more that makes sense.
And you have a poison control system in your liver that clears out poison. The poison control system in your liver, which runs on various enzymes and molecules, kicks in for every drug you take. So every time you take a drug, your poison control system has to kick in to clear out the drug, which means, because the poison control system uses vitamin C, it uses vitamin E, it uses copper and zinc and magnesium, etc., every time you take a drug, you're going to be losing nutrients because your body has to clean out that drug. So now you're going to be, on top of having been poisoned, now you're going to be nutritionally deficient on top of everything else, which is why I always tell people, if you're on prescription drugs, that's an extra important reason to get on the Healthy Start Pack. And in fact, the opposite, sometimes when people ask, should I get on the Healthy Start Pack if I'm on drugs? It's going to interfere with my drugs. No, your nutrition is not going to interfere with your poison. In fact, your nutrition is going to make your poison more effective. So you need less poison.
All right, Ben, let's pause right there, and we'll be back in 2 minutes, Ben. Don't go anywhere. 2 minutes, we'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
Want better health and a better income? At themineralway.com, you can start your own home-based business. No inventory, no pressure, just powerful health products, real support, and a business you can run from your computer, smartphone, or landline. When you enroll, you'll get your own personal website, access to exclusive training materials, and private video calls with health expert Ben Fuchs. This is a real business with real benefits, including the ability to take advantage of tax deductions available to business owners. Whether you're looking for part-time income or a whole new direction, this is your chance to feel better and earn smarter. Visit themineralway.com or call 831-218-5726. That's themineralway.com or 831-218-5726. Your health, your business. The Mineral Way to a better life.
Buster, is that you? You're moving like a pup on espresso. What gives?
Thanks. Just keeping up with my routine, some light jogs, a few unauthorized trash inspections, and started taking Arthrodex.
Arthrodex? Is that one of those new chew toys with Bluetooth?
Nah, it's a supplement from Longevity. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, even stuff to keep my joints moving like they used to.
So, it's like a multivitamin, but it actually tastes good?
Exactly. My coat's shinier, I'm springier than ever, and the stairs don't mock me anymore.
Man, I've been getting winded halfway through Squirrel Patrol.
Tell your human to go to themineralway.com. That's where mine gets it. Easy peasy.
Done. I'm one biscuit away from entering the Zoomy Olympics.
Give your pets the nutritional support they deserve with Arthrodex from Longevity, because staying active, happy, and healthy never goes out of style. Available now at themineralway.com.
831-479-1080. That's 831-479-1080. 218-5726 with your text messages. kscodave@gmail.com and themineralway.com. We will not ignore any of your questions. We will answer all of them. Is that right, Ben? Did I get it right that time?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, good. By the way, you sound you sound marvelous today, Ben. You sound fantastic.
Do I?
Yeah.
You mean me personally or my audio?
Your audio. And
okay.
you sound
I sound good, though, too, don't I?
Yeah, Ben. It's just the whole 9 yards, Ben.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I was going to tell you one more thing about these drugs.
Okay,
First of all, and while I'm talking to you, I got an email. How to urgently reduce LDL to reduce cardiovascular CV risk. And so, did they tell you about exercise? No. Did they tell you about lowering your sugar? No. Did they tell you about nutritional supplementation? No. They tell you about Repatha. Evol Ocumab to provide rapid, powerful, and sustained LDL reductions. Of course, and this on top of being just some schlocky ad, it comes from Medicine Today, the journal Medicine Today. And that's, it's kind of, we can pick on these guys and we can rip on these guys, but really, that's what they do. That's their job. You ever hear the story of the scorpion and the frog? Did I ever tell you the story of the scorpion and the frog?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, can I tell you real quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
The scorpion and the frog are walking down the street, and they come to a river. And the scorpion can't swim, but the frog can. The scorpion says, hey, let me on your back, and let's cross the river. And the frog says, no, I'm not going to let you on my back. You're a scorpion. You're going to bite me. And the scorpion says, don't be silly. If we're in the middle of the river and I bite you, you're going to drown, and then I'm going to drown. That'll be the stupidest thing I could ever do. Why would I ever want to bite you? And so the frog thinks about it and says, all right, that makes sense. And he lets the scorpion on his back, and the frog goes in the river, and they get into the middle of the river, and boom, the scorpion bites the frog. And the frog is drowning, and he's sinking, and he looks up to the scorpion, and he says, you stupid scorpion, what did you do? You bit me. Now I'm going to drown. Now you're going to drown, you stupid, stupid insect. What were you thinking? And the scorpion says, I'm a scorpion. That's what I do. And that's the idea. We have to understand that, yeah, you could rip on the pharmacomedical model, but that's what they do. That's who they are. We have this culture that's built on adversarial relationships. Have you ever thought about this? We've got police and criminals. We've got government and we've got citizens. We've got buyers and we've got sellers. We've got employers and we've got customers. Everything is built on these kind of adversarial relationships.
Okay.
Right? And so, the theory being, it's a kind of a capitalist thing where you sort of get the best results when two people are pitted against each other. The best results come out. Fine. Whether you agree that philosophically that's an appropriate way to run a society or culture, that's another story. But we have to start looking at the pharmacomedical model as pitted against us. They're not there to help us. Do they help us sometimes? Yes. As I said, pain pills, antibiotics, anesthesia. There are times when the pharmacomedical model is valuable. But that's not why they're here. They're here to make a profit on us. They're here to make a profit, and they make the profit on us. And that's how we have to look at it. So when somebody says an ad on television with a little cartoon character about your colon cancer, take this drug so you don't get colon cancer, or take this drug so you don't have irritable bowel, or take this drug so you don't have psoriasis, or whatever it is, you gotta look at them from this adversarial position. And while they're all have the cute cartoons and the slogans and the dances, and everybody's bungee jumping and climbing mountains and kayaking and hiking, and they're always doing great things and with their families and they're smiling, you have to look at it as if they are pitted against, their interests are pitted against your interests. And that's how you have to look at it. Now, do you sometimes benefit? Occasionally, you'll benefit. Do you sometimes benefit from McDonald's? If you're starving, maybe. Right? If you haven't eaten for 3 days and somebody gives you a hamburger, okay. But for the most part, McDonald's is not there to serve your interests. They're there to serve their shareholders and stockholders' interests, stockholders' interests, and that's the way the system is built. So when you see an ad for a Big Mac, or you see an ad for Repatha, or you see an ad for Stellara, you've got to ask the questions. Who benefits? Follow the money. Who is going to win in this interaction? Is it going to be me or my kid or my grandmother, or is it going to be the shareholders or the stockholders and the CEO of the company that's putting out the drugs? Always ask that question. And you should ask that question for everything, for televisions and for cars and for all the other things that we have to purchase, homes and, our electrical equipment and our furniture, etc. But it's extra important to ask that question when it comes to our health.
831-479-1080 is the phone number, 218-5726, the text line, kscodave@gmail.com. Let's get to another email, another phone call. But the other day, Ben, somebody asked me, it was a female, asked me about a testosterone product for women that she heard advertised on the radio.
Testosterone for women?
Yeah.
Huh.
Is that
Yeah, women need testosterone. Testosterone.
Do they have prostates? Because I'm trying to sell.
Are you
trying to sell some prostate FX here, Ben?
The women you hang out with, maybe. I don't know. I've seen some of those girls you're hanging out with. They might have prostate. They used to have prostates or something.
What's the deal with testosterone?
What's the deal with the
women?
prostate, or what's the deal with
women,
testosterone?
Testosterone.
Yeah. Testosterone gives, men make estrogen, female hormone, and women make testosterone, male hormone. We call them female hormone and male hormone because women make more female hormone and men make more male hormone. But nonetheless, we're all balances of male and female from a hormonal perspective, and from other perspectives, we're all balances. Nobody is strictly male, nobody's strictly female from a hormonal perspective because we're all making male hormones and female hormones, although depending on the gender, you'll make more of one or the other. Testosterone is a get up and go kind of hormone. And for women, especially menopausal women, testosterone not only gives you that kind of energy, that ambition, that type A personality thing, but it's also important for muscle development. It also balances out estrogen, and estrogen is a real, I don't know, can I curse on this show? As
long as it's not real bad.
I say show hormone? Can I say that?
No.
Oh, I can't say that. Okay. Well, that's what estrogen is.
Okay.
And testosterone balances that out. So that's another thing. And then testosterone is very important for libido. And a lot of times as women go into menopause, their libido drops, and partially because their testosterone's dropping. And so a lot of women want to be on testosterone so they can get their sex drive back. Same with men. And that's one of the main reasons why men want to be on hormone replacement is for their libido and for their sex drive. One of the best things you could do if you're worried about your testosterone for men and for women, guess what it would be? Reduce your sugar and calories too. High calories and high sugar are antagonistic to testosterone. And in a way, it's almost like you could say that there's, I don't know if this is true, but a good case could be made that there is a conspiracy to domesticate human beings, to make us less like lions and more like pussycats, to take our edge off, to control us, really. And calories, in the long run, control us because they domesticate us. They dumb us down. They reduce our edge. They lower our testosterone, as does sugar, as does refined foods of all kinds. So abundant calories, abundant sugar, refined foods, which we all have this drive for and find irresistible, in the long run, they make us lose our edge. And so for men, I call this the Santa Claus effect, by the way. You know how men, when they're younger, will be tough and vigorous and vital, and then they get older and they're fat and jolly. I call that the Santa Claus effect. And this fat and jolly is the end result of a drop in testosterone and a relative increase in female hormone. Men become feminized as they get older. Ironically, a lot of women become masculinized as they get older. This is kind of a joke that God played on everybody, is that as we get older, men become more like women and women become more like men. Isn't that, from a hormone perspective, that is. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how, like, women, when they get older, they don't deal with any BS.
Yeah, they get all cranky and
they don't want to deal with any guy's BS anymore. And then when they get older, they get fat and jolly. It's kind of a joke.
Do you think they beat us into submission, these women?
I think they're just sick of dealing with our BS. They're sick of dealing with men's BS.
I think you're right.
That's why men always like young women, because they don't know yet. Older women's not going to take that crap anymore. Any older women out there want to second that notion?
Let's head out to the phone lines, Ben, and see what Greg has to say. He's calling from Prunedale. You're in the air.
Hey, Greg.
Oh, hey, guys.
What's up?
I was just wondering if you ever studied like the Native American people's diet that were here before we were here.
They knew how to eat, man.
Versus our modern diet.
Yeah,
they really had no choice in the matter. It was,
well, there were no
available.
stores. Yeah, there were no fast foods, and there were stores. No stores. They would eat, wild plants and game and fish, especially in Santa Cruz. I always often wonder about the Indians who lived on the West Coast, like in California and Oregon and Washington. They must have been loving life. Can you imagine these guys? They had all the game. They had all the plants, in the forest. They had abundant fish. They had everything. They must have been just loving being alive. What were you going to say?
I read that the Spaniards thought that they were lazy because they just laid around a lot.
Yeah, they had abundance.
And the Spaniards were starving because they had no idea what to eat. But the Native Americans, they had such an abundance of food.
And not just
knew what they eat, that they didn't have to work hard.
Yes, and not just abundance, but variety. All of this variety, bison and and get venison and deer and all kinds of fish and birds and mussels and abalone and wild plants and squash. And I mean, they had all of the stuff. It must have been life must have been amazing for them. What's that?
Grass seed,
grass-fed
acorn meal.
Yeah.
I heard they ate a couple 1,000 pounds of acorns every year that they made into each family that made into mush.
I didn't hear
I didn't
hear that amount, but I did hear that they ate a lot of acorns. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
It just seems funny to me that the people that live here before us ate the same thing for thousands of years.
Right.
It was local available food.
Right.
And then nowadays, we eat McDonald's one night and Chinese food one night, and we have no consistency in our diet. And,
You know, and all the food has been not only has it been processed, it's been ultra processed. It's been processed and then processed again. Like it's like double processed. They call it ultra processed food. By the time you eat it, it's not even food. American cheese. They don't even call American cheese cheese. You know, American cheese is called a cheese food product. Did you know that, Dave?
Oh, dang.
It's called a cheese food product. It's not cheese. They can't call it cheese. They have to call it cheese food product.
Thank you for the call, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for the call. 831-479-1080.
And the reason supplementation is so important is because of what we're just talking about here. You know, if you were an Indian in the 16th century living on the coast, coast of California or something, you didn't need a supplement. You got everything you needed from plants and from game and from fish and shellfish and seafood. Today we don't have that. We don't have that luxury anymore. We do not have luxury, if we're serious about our health, to not supplement. You just don't have that luxury. You can't do it. Just breathing the air is going to cost you nutrition, especially if you live in a big city. Just breathing the air is going to cost you nutrition. Certainly eating food can cost us nutrition. And of course, just our stressful 21st century freakazoid lifestyle costs us nutrition. It's impossible to be nutritionally competent without supplementing, unless you are a food savant and you know everything about food and you grow your own food and you eat wild game. And, we'll say next to impossible to be nutritionally competent without a nutritional supplement program.
So what should they take, Ben? I mean,
Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You want to start off somewhere? BTT. It's liquid. It's electrical, and always spin your BTT in a vortex to amp up the electricity. BTT will help you absorb other nutrients. Did you know this, Dave?
Tell me more, Ben.
The minerals in BTT, the ionic minerals, the liquid minerals in BTT, will actually improve the absorption of other nutrients, not only into the bloodstream through the intestine, but literally into cells. So double absorption benefits into the blood and then into cells. So Beyond Tangy Tangerine is absolutely epic. It's for what you're getting. The price is crazy cheap. And then if you want to round the whole thing out, get on the Healthy Start Pack. Although really, if you want to start a nutritional supplement program and you don't know where to begin and you've never done it before, BTT. And I know the Dave Cave is the Dave Cave closed now?
It is officially closed. We still have a few things left.
So where can people get BTT?
The best place to go is themineralway.com. That's the best place that I could think of, Ben.
All right, there you go. And when they go to the Mineral Way, do you send it or does it plug them into Youngevity?
It plugs them into Youngevity.
Okay, gotcha.
Same thing. If you want to become a distributor, you'll get your own website. People will go there, shop, and Youngevity will send them the product and send you a check. I mean, it's real easy, Ben, if you want to be a distributor. $30 to sign up, and you can get started right away.
If you want to start a business, if you're an entrepreneur and you just don't know where to begin and you don't know what you want to do, you guys got to look into this business. It's an amazing way to make money, improve lives. And, I don't know if we talked about this before, Dave, you can write things off.
Yeah. You
can write off your car, your mileage. You can write off rooms in your house. You can write off your gas. You can write off your stamps. Well, nobody uses stamps anymore, but you can write off, your internet. There's a lot of things that you can use as tax write-offs when you start a business, and that alone will pay for itself, or it'll pay for the cost of running the business. And, you can't get into a business for the price of getting into a Youngevity business. And on top of that, it's nutrition. If you like nutrition, it's health. If you like health, you'll get the benefit of changing your health and your nutrition, and your loved ones and your family. And best part of all, you get to interact with Dave Michaels and Pharmacist Ben.
That's the best part?
That's the best part.
Well, I would say, Ben, I would argue with that, and I would say the
What's
best part is you get to help others, and
that's the second best part. The best part is you get to hang out with Dave Michaels. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding. No,
I won't argue with you, Ben. We got another call. This is Rory hanging out online. You're in
Rory.
there, Rory.
I think we talked to Rory's kid last week.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, good. You've been taking the memory effect.
Yeah, I have. That's right. You have a smart kid. No surprise, Rory. You got a smart kid.
Yeah, she's probably one of the smartest, like photographic memory.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that, but I could tell by talking to her she was super smart. Not surprising after knowing you for whatever 20 years.
Yeah, totally opposite.
They all got the yeah, thanks, Dave. They all get the BTT punctuated little amounts here and there.
Growing up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The youngest,
that might be why.
The youngest was a BTT baby.
Is that right? Does your wife do all the supplements?
Yeah. Back then it was based on cost, but when she was pregnant with the youngest, she took it every day.
That you know what? That's one of the most important times of supplements when you're growing a baby. When you have a baby inside you, that's one of the most important times to nutrition supplement.
One of the older brothers calls him the pig baby.
Called what? What did he say?
The pig pack.
The pig baby. Well,
this is going back to 23. But hey, a couple quick questions or a comment.
Yeah.
To the guy that called about the Indians.
Yeah.
He did live a natural lifestyle, but the California Indians, because of the high birth, what do you call that?
Birth rate?
The dying at birth. Their average
infant mortality. Infant mortality?
Infant mortality. Their average lifespan was 25 to 30.
Well, that was everybody had low. Didn't everybody have high infant mortality back then?
It was 50 to 60. So, yeah, they did kind of one with nature, but they had to run away from the grizzly bears in California, run up in a tree.
That's true. They had wild animals.
What
are you always looking on the dark side here, buddy? I was just thinking about how beautiful. I know. And you're thinking grizzly bears.
My only comment is eat like your great-grandfathers, generation, or grandparents, or your grandparents. Like a lot of people here in Watsonville, I tell them, eat like your grandparents. Well, how old are your grandparents? Oh, they're 96, 98.
Yeah, good point.
Because they're got their garden.
No, you can't do that anymore, though. Rory, you can't do that anymore. Let me tell you why. Because today you have people in their 40s whose grandparents are part of the problem. They're in their 70s, and they're the end result of fast food and formula and cesarean sections and all the things that we started to do in the 40s and 50s. So younger people, you got to be careful. You got to say great grandparents. But I understand your point. Is eat.
Grew up on ranches in Mexico.
Yeah. No, that's different. And even California, ranches on California. Yeah. No, that's
anyway, true. So I re-upped my life insurance. So you're going to laugh at this.
Okay.
I'm 65. I re-upped. I did the blood analysis, EKG, urinalysis, all this stuff. Oh, came in preferred. But because of the questionnaire, I said I couldn't remember the last time I went to a doctor. They knocked me down. To not preferred. Can you believe it?
Because you don't go to doctors. Oh, my God, I don't either.
So now I'm going to make an appointment with a homeopath that my wife sees from time to time. So hopefully we can...
Oh, he'll be your doctor? He'll be the doctor?
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get you. Hopefully that'll count. You might have to go to like an unofficial drug dealing doctor. That's funny because I haven't been to a doctor and I don't even know. I don't remember. I think I had knee surgery like 30 years, 32 years ago now. And that's the last time I was at a doctor's. And let me tell you something. When I had my knee surgery, I was very, very happy for surgeons. I was very thrilled. And I was very thrilled for anesthesia, and I was very thrilled about morphine. So there are times, absolutely, when you need medical intervention. And the distinction between lifestyle health challenges and what we call in the business heroic health challenges or heroic medicine really needs to be distinguished if we're going to understand what the medical model can do and what the medical model can't do, where the medical model brings value and where it destroys lives. And just as it brings value for stitching up a broken bone, and what they can stitch up these days is amazing. You ever hear this guy, Wayne Bobbitt? You know who Wayne Bobbitt was?
No.
Wayne, I think his name was Wayne Bobbitt. Have you heard of him, Rory?
Rory's gone. His phone was dropped, yeah.
You never heard of Wayne Bobbitt?
Are you talking about John Wayne Bobbitt?
John Wayne Bobbitt.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So remember what they can stitch on. They can stitch all kinds of stuff back on once they've been cut off or removed. So it's a miracle what they can do. They can put hands back on, fingers back on. They could do heart transplants, liver transplant. I mean, there's just crazy, amazing, miraculous stuff that modern medicine is capable of doing. Life-saving and life-changing stuff. But what they can't do is address your ulcerative colitis or your autoimmune disease or your heart disease or your cancer or your psoriasis or your dementia or your movement disorders, your Parkinson's disease, or any of the health challenges that make up the bulk of our complaints, which are in the way of degenerative disease. They're strictly lifestyle, and they're strictly our responsibility. Nobody else's but us.
Got it. One more question, Ben. This is from our friend Steve. He wants to know about almond flour. What do you think about almond flour?
Awesome. Now, some people do have a problem with nuts. I don't know if you've heard that. Nuts at the end of the day are seeds. They're a type of seed, right? That's what we call a nut is really, it's a type of seed. And these things, like all seeds, are incredibly powerful. Nature stores its most powerful nutrients in seeds or in a seed. Why do you think nature would do that?
Because it has that hard shell to protect it?
Well, that's true, but why would there be so much good stuff in a seed? Well, it turns out that seeds are nature's treasure chest. They're going to make a life. So everything you need to make a life is in a seed. However, that seed is asleep. And so nature has equipped seeds with sleeping agents. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you specifically what they are in a second, but just to get the idea, seeds are not supposed to explode or germinate until they have water and they have light, right? And soil. They have to have soil, water, and light, and then they germinate. I don't even think they need soil. You could put them in a paper towel. I've seen them germinate. So basically, they need water and light. Mm-hmm. At that point, the life force that has been kept in check inside a seed explodes. And a germinated seed, which is called a sprout, is the most powerful gram for gram food substance, nutrient-dense food substance that there is, with maybe the exception of algae and yeasts. They're right up there. So it's one of the top 3 or 4. It's in the top 3 or 4 most important and valuable types of foods. Sprouts, all sprouts, broccoli sprouts, Brussels sprouts, any kind of sprouts, and they're cheap too. On top of everything else, you can make them in a jar on your porch. Sprouts. So the problem is the seed is not, before it germinates, it's got these enzyme inhibitors, and these enzyme inhibitors are designed by nature to suppress the chemistry in a seed so it doesn't germinate when it's not ready to germinate. Otherwise, so it'll die. So when we eat seeds, we're eating enzyme inhibitors. So that's one problem with eating seeds. And you may remember your mom saying not to eat watermelon seeds and not to eat apple seeds and that kind of thing. There are also components in seeds called lectins, Lectins. And you probably know this, Dave, but some people might not. Grains are seeds, right? Mm-hmm. What we call, wheat is a seed, a seed of the wheat plant. And so we get flour from seeds. And some of these components, these defense molecules, they're called lectins, these plant defense molecules are in seeds, come out in the flour. And that makes flour very problematic. Flour is actually one of the most problematic food substances that we eat, especially after it gets cooked. Did you know flour has rancid fat in it, by the way?
I did not know that, Ben.
Flour has a small amount of rancid fat. Grains tend to have seeds, tend to have fats in them, and by the time you get the flour, it's rancid, and you're eating rancid oil when you eat flour. Now, almond flour is gluten-free. That's one thing. It does have more fat, so you got to be a little bit careful with that. But it's also got a lot more protein, and so a lot of people and it's very tasty on top of everything else. So if you're going to do flour, if you need to do flour, and I'm not a big believer in flour, almond flour definitely has some advantages over ordinary flour. It's got more vitamins, more magnesium, more protein. As I said, it doesn't contain gluten or a lot of it has some lectins in there, but nowhere near as much as in wheat. It's kind of heavy. It's a little bit denser, than wheat flour, but it's much better for you, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, thank you to Steve who texted that in. Ben Fuchs. Let's remind people that the best way to enroll as a distributor or as a preferred customer is to go to themineralway.com. And we need to arrange a date, Ben. I mean, I'm tired of saying it. We need to do
You're
it.
just toying with me. You're
Yes.
just
No, I'm not.
toying
No,
with
I
me.
mean, but we need to do it, Ben. So what date?
You like weekends or you like evenings? Or you like mornings?
I like weekend, evenings.
Let's do weekend. That's easier for me.
All right.
So let's say we'll do it on a Sunday.
On a Sunday? Okay.
Yeah, does that work?
That works, yeah.
Like, what do you think? Sunday afternoon?
Sure, Sunday afternoon.
You're an hour behind me, so
okay.
So what, like 2, 3, 12, 11?
Let's do
5, 6.
Let's do 6.
Now, it's going to be football season. People are going to want to watch football.
Dang it.
I know. So, there was a way to get around that, I guess. Like we can do later in the day, later in the afternoon.
Oh, geez.
Football's all over the place these days. Every single day there's football now.
Yeah.
You notice that?
It. Boy,
why do people like football? I like football.
I do too.
I wonder what it is about that sport, though.
Oh, it's the violence.
You like the violence?
I like the violence.
Do you like the big hits?
Oh yeah, dude.
Do you go? Ooh.
Yeah, I like to watch that. I like to watch the fights. Violence.
I got to talk to Ken Stabler. You know Ken Stabler?
Yes, of course. So quarterback for the Raiders.
Raiders, right? So I got to talk to him one time, and I asked him about the hits. I'm like, how do these people take those hits? Some of these things, they're crazy, the violence, right? And he said to me something very interesting. He said that they know how to make their body soft right before the hit. Oh. They know there's something that they know how to do, and I thought that was really cool. They can, kind of melt with the hit, and that's how they absorb the hit. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. When I was younger, Ben, I would have loved to just give me the ball and let me just run it in there, and just if I get hit, I get just the impact.
Were you the same?
Anymore, though.
Were you the same size when you were a kid? When you were a little kid?
Yeah.
So you were like a running back type.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Powerful legs and
Yeah, I can imagine. Leverage. You had leverage.
Leverage, Ben. I like that.
Yeah,
leverage. Circled back all the way to the way we started the show.
All right.
I love it, Ben.
Good to talk to you as always, and I can't wait to see everybody on our Zoom call on whatever Sunday we pick.
We're going to pick a Sunday.
We'll announce it next week.
Okay, sounds good, Ben.
Okay,
we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Keep it tuned in. More great radio coming up again. The Mineral Way broadcasts live every Monday, 5 p.m. If you're listening to it at a different time, then it's probably a replay because you will hear it around various radio stations. But we're live here every Monday, 5 p.m., pharmacist Ben Fuchs and I, at 831-479-1080, 831-218-5726 with your text messages, kseodave@gmail.com, and, of course, themineralway.com. All of those will work. We'll see you next week. This is The Mineral Way.
What if improving your health could also improve your income? At themineralway.com, you can launch your own home-based business, something real, flexible, and proven. When you enroll, you're not just getting amazing health products. You're starting a business you can run from your computer, smartphone, or even your landline. And yes, that means you can finally take advantage of the tax deductions available to business owners. That's right, your health, your income, and your taxes can all start working for you. You'll get your own personalized website, access to exclusive training materials, and private conference and video calls with health expert Ben Fuchs, a pharmacist who's helped thousands transform their lives with his no-nonsense approach to nutrition. There's no inventory to keep, no high-pressure sales tactics, just powerful products, a clear path, and the tools you need to succeed. Work part-time, full-time, or just in between. You set the schedule. You decide how far you want to take it, and you won't be doing this alone. At themineralway.com, we give you the education, support, and encouragement to build something that matters to you and the people you help. So if you're ready to feel better, earn better, and live better, go to themineralway.com right now or call 831-218-5726. That's themineralway.com or 831-218-5726. Better health, smarter income, the Mineral Way to a better life.
Okay, man, time to be an all-star caregiver. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, be there emotionally and physically. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.